Alright, this is my first video. It's going to talk about some things going on in the political world. One of those things has to be filibusters. People get this idea in their head that it's Mr. Smith goes to Washington. It's some kind of functional part of the democracy. What people don't understand, it's not even the Constitution. And you could say, well, when the state legislatures were picking senators, it was different then. Yeah, but it's not now. If we have a system where we can let one guy or a handful of men hold up the ability for people to take a vote, to stake out a position, to even go to their constituents and say, this is what I stand for. Filibuster cuts that out. How can you say that we have a democratic process when we have a system called the filibuster, which is extra constitutional and completely useless as far as getting anything done? We have the most unproductive Congress we've had probably in the history of the Republic. But we're going to act like they're doing God's work or something, because they have their guys sitting in there and stopping everything from happening, even the due process of election. You have a guy who just got elected, Barack Obama. You can hate him, you can love him, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is a broken system. We got a system that basically says, you know, if you want to just gum up the works and collect a paycheck for never taking a position, we'll let you do that, we'll allow that. And then when you act like you're going to try to reform the filibuster, they scream bloody murder and act like you're doing some kind of damage to the Constitution itself. You're taking George Washington out of his grave and you're molesting his corpse. It's nothing like that. If you look at the actual facts and the history of it, right now we operate under what's called a silent filibuster rule, which means that the old days of Mr. Smith going to Washington, we actually had to get up and talk about it. We actually had to go and take to the floor and talk until your vocal cords just fell out of your throat. That's gone. Nowadays, you can phone in a filibuster. Now I'm phoning it in. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call you up. I'm going to put this threat out, and that threat will essentially be a filibuster. No more talking, no more debating, no more anything. Now, some people out there, you might say to yourself, let's go and let's make a talking filibuster again. Well, okay, you have a talking filibuster. It's only going to be a matter of time before these old pampered rich men are going to say, we don't like to get up and talk. Let us phone it in like we used to. And they're going to be back to square one. In my opinion, it's going to sound radical, but I think it needs to be eliminated. I think you just need to take the thing and just crumble it up and chuck it in the dustbin of history. It is a flaw in our democracy. If you can point to it, anyone in the Constitution, and say, there it is, that's it, I'll shake your hand. But if all you can point to is the Senate and the House makes their own rules, then that's just bullshit, and that's one of the reasons why I think it needs to go. But until then, it's not going to change. We're going to have a democracy that refuses to function. We're going to have a body of the legislature that refuses to do anything. It just basically sits and collects checks. Never has to take a position, never has to explain things to their constituents. What's the point of that? We can do better than that. There'll be no shelter here.